I work on the other side of Boston.
Hello, my name's Fran Foster, past master of Setauket Lodge in East Bridgewater. We have as our guest tonight Robert E. Godbout Jr., who was the past Grand Lodge Rep Marshal, past Senior Grand Warden, the current Director of the Grand Lodge, and in September he traveled to Cincinnati to receive the highest degree that Masonry can confer on anyone, the 33rd degree in Masonry. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Fran.
Welcome to our show.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Scottish Rite. What can you tell us about Scottish Rite? How did it start, and
Well, Scottish Rite started actually many, many years ago, Fran. It's an extension of our Blue Lodges, and our Blue Lodges we refer to as our first, second, third degree. Mm-hmm. After a brother has taken his third degree in our Blue Lodge, he has the opportunity to go on to Scottish Rite. And in this case, where I'm basically involved is Boston, where we would perform the 4th through the 32nd degree. It's a portrayal of different degrees whereby a member can learn and see different rituals performed to bring a meaning to the individual. It's a brotherhood of men whereby they can get together at Scottish Rite meetings and enjoy harmony with each other and enjoy the friendship and the fraternalism of our great fraternity.
Now they're called valleys. How many valleys are there in Massachusetts?
Right now there's 8 valleys in Massachusetts. 8 valleys. The valleys differ somewhat. Each valley, in the case of Boston, New Bedford, Fall River, and Springfield, have all 4 bodies represented: the Lodge of Perfection, the Princes of Jerusalem, Rose Croix, and Massachusetts Consistory. There are other valleys that have 1 or 2. For an example, last night I was in Lawrence. They had Lodge of Perfection and Princes of Jerusalem. Okay. So all bodies do not have all 4 represented. And in those cases, they would come to either Boston, Fall River, and Springfield for their candidates.
All right. Now you are the Commander-in-Chief of the
Massachusetts Consistory.
Massachusetts Consistory, which confers the last
19th through the 32nd
19th
degree.
through the 32nd degree.
Yes, Fran.
And I've seen the degrees, and it's the equal of any Broadway production. They do a fantastic job at it.
We have professional makeup individuals that come in and make up our cast. It's all done in full costume, depending on the degree that we would be performing that evening. And yes, it is, for a new candidate, they would look at it as a professional Broadway show. Very entertaining, very enjoyable, but yet with a great message that we portray.
Yeah. Now you take lessons out of the Bible and all the Masonic lessons.
Yes, we certainly do. There is a couple that we've done recently that I personally enjoy, one of which we just did this past spring was the 4 Chaplains degree, a very current degree during World War II where the USS Dorchester was torpedoed. And it's represented with a chaplain, a priest, and a rabbi, and how that ship had been torpedoed and went down, and how they took care of their men on the ship to make sure that they were all able to get off. And it's quite a moving degree and very enjoyable for those that that go back to the Second World War and remember those days. So it's a very enjoyable but yet rewarding degree to witness.
And they all teach a very valuable lesson.
They certainly do. In certain different eras of our country, if you will, or the world, they bring a message to our members that they can take home with them and live their daily lives with, yes.
Now you have some degrees that are in colonial times too.
We certainly do. The George Washington degree, which is one of our favorites also, with Benedict Arnold and George Washington, and that's all done in full costume during those years. And again, we bring a message of portrayal of treason and what one would do with treason, but it's a very enjoyable and enlightening degree for the candidates. In fact, we'll be putting that one on in November of this year in Boston.
Oh, so yeah.
I'm looking forward to it with George Washington. Yes.
Now, in order to be a Scottish Rite, you have to be a Blue Lodge member first.
Yes, you do. You have to be a Blue Lodge member, a dues-paying Blue Lodge member that have taken his 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degree, and then the petition, you can take petition out to become a Scottish Rite Mason, or as we sometimes refer, 32nd degree Mason.
Yep. And this is one of the routes that you can take to get to the shrine. There was another route that we won't mention now.
Well, no, we can mention.
Okay.
It's all our fraternity.
Yeah.
It's York Rites.
The York Rite.
And that, I believe, I belong to the York Rites also. It would be chapter, council, and commandery. And in the case in this area, it would, I believe it's in Brockton. And it used to be in Abington, but it's now in Brockton. And so that's the other route to become a Shriner, yes.
Yeah, our program director is currently going through the York Rite, I
he
think.
really?
Yeah.
Well, as I've said, I've done both and enjoy them both, and they're different in their own way, but it's a fraternalism of Masons that have gone on beyond our Blue Lodge.
Now, the Blue Lodges, all right, we support charities.
We certainly do.
The Scottish Rite also supports charities.
We certainly do.
What are they?
Well, we have our Scottish Rite Museum in Lexington, Massachusetts, that's open to the public.
There's the Museum of our National Heritage.
That's correct, right in the center of Lexington.
Yeah.
It's a library and museum, and as I said, it's open to all. We support schizophrenia research and have for many, many, many years. Scholarships are available for grandchildren and children of Scottish Rite Masons. And recently, in 1994, we started a Scottish Rite Masonic Learning Center, located our first one here in Massachusetts in Newtonville. We've since added another one in Lowell. And in our jurisdiction of our Northern Masonic jurisdiction, which encompasses the northern 15 states, we presently have 13 learning centers in operation, with 5 ready to be opened, with the anticipation of 55 in the year 2002. Now, these learning centers provide assistance to children with dyslexia and learning disabilities. And at no charge, as the Shrine does with their hospitals, with no charge, we in turn, Scottish Rite, have no charge for the children. Presently, we have 23 students that are working, that are presently at our learning center in Newtonville. And it's amazing the improvement that these children make after just 1 year of working with our tutors and our instructors.
This is one of the nice things about Freemasonry. They see something that needs to be done, and they go ahead and get it done.
We have to thank J. Philip Berquist for this. This was a project that he undertook in, as I said, in 1992 and developed it. So in 1994, we opened the first center. And it's really proud to see these children and how they progress and what they do. And it's all a response basically to our Scottish Rite Masons that have contributed not only in money, but in time and service to supporting these children.
It takes an awful lot of time to get some of these things done.
Oh, it's amazing. Just the facility itself. We've just undertook a project whereby we expanded our facility in Newtonville so we could handle 5 more students. The waiting line is unbelievable for children that need help, and in many cases they're not getting it in their local communities.
Now, you're on the board of directors for those learning centers,
I am on
aren't
the
you?
board of directors. The 4 heads, if you will, of the bodies here in Boston are all what we call board of governors. There's 15
Okay.
board of governors, and we are on that, and we have a regular monthly meeting to determine our needs and our direction and how we can better improve the facility for our children.
Okay. We have a tape of the Scottish Rite program. The name of the tape is What It Means to be a 32nd Degree Mason. Now, I don't know who took the name first, but we've been doing it for 3 years.
There you go.
But it's a very interesting tape. It was done in the Valley of Cincinnati, I think it was, and it's quite interesting. So if we could roll the tape, and we'll see what some of the degrees look like.
You have recently joined one of the world's most prestigious fraternities, Scottish Rite Freemasonry in the Northern Masonic jurisdiction. The Northern jurisdiction stretches across 15 states, from its headquarters, the Supreme Council in Lexington, Massachusetts, to the wide-open farmlands of the Midwest, from our border with Canada to the southernmost tip of Illinois. Within these bounds, its membership likewise extends across a vast reach. The best way to understand what it means to be a 32nd degree Mason is to ask those who have made the fraternity an important part of their lives.
The reason many Masons become Scottish Rite Masons is that they want further education on what they learned in the Blue Lodge. And the Scottish Rite provides 29 additional lessons that help to embellish and build upon what they learned at the Blue Lodge level.
It's been said that the first 3 degrees of Masonry help us to become a better man inside, and the degrees up to the 32nd help us to be a better man to the rest of the world. And the teachings certainly are there, and if we listen to those teachings and put them into our daily lives, we're going to be a better employee, a better husband, a better father, and a better servant to the community.
The teachings of Scottish Rite Masonry are central to its long history, a history that began in Europe during the Enlightenment of the 18th century and reached the United States in 1767 with the formation of a Lodge of Perfection in Albany, New York.
Scottish Rite was founded in its early years by the Stuart exiles from Britain who settled in and around Bordeaux in France and was brought here to the United States. And our own history, of course, goes back to 1801 when the first Supreme Council was founded in Charleston, South Carolina, which then, of course, branched off, the northern part of which we're members of, branched off in 1813.
The continuity between past and present is one of the lights of Scottish Rite Masonry, a symbolic term that to 32nd degree Masons means the wisdom that has been passed down from previous generations.
You can have a great deal of success in material life, in your own business or your own profession, but we find that for many of those young men particularly who are coming to us now, that there's something missing. And the missing element is that dimension that we think that Scottish Rite Masonry particularly can offer them. And that is almost 200 years of heritage and a place where they can find comfort in the future and where we adjust ourselves to modern life, but we hold steadfast to the truths that Masonry offers.
That wisdom is codified as the 29 degrees beyond the third. Scottish Rite also bestows an additional degree, the 33rd, for exemplary service to the fraternity or mankind. The 29 degrees are principles, teachings in ethics, values, and good citizenship. They promote such universal qualities as tolerance, reverence for God, and dignity in labor. What is most distinctive about Scottish Rite Masonry is how those universal principles are taught to degree candidates. Scottish Rite degree presentations are part of a tradition that goes all the way back to the Middle Ages and the plays staged by guilds of tradesmen. Their common theme was good versus evil, and to communicate their lessons, they make great use of symbolism and allegory. Of course, modern-day degree presentations are quite sophisticated, both in their production values and lessons. Their stories come from a wide variety of sources, including the Old Testament, the founding of the United States, and the Second World War. Most important are the principles communicated by the presentations. These are divided into 4 groups. Many of the stories in the first group, the Lodge of Perfection, are set in the time of King Solomon. This group elaborates on the principles of the symbolic or Blue Lodge. The principles taught in the second group, the Council of Princes of Jerusalem, put strong emphasis on loyalty and devotion to truth. They are set during the captivity of the ancient Hebrews and the building of the Second Temple. The philosophical degrees of the Chapter of Rose Croix, the third group, explore the idea that the most enduring of all things human is one soul. And the fourth group, the Consistory, conveys its principles through historical settings that range all the way from feudal chivalry to the 20th century. The degrees are calls to action. For the individual, they inspire self-betterment. For the collective brotherhood, they inspire pride, camaraderie, learning, and charity. Above all, they inspire 32nd degree Masons to put their beliefs to work.
I learned that one could volunteer And I like nothing better than to get out there in the ritual or in the dramas and do my thing. It makes me happy, and it makes me proud because I'm helping my brothers to come in to the rite.
The degree presentations themselves provide the opportunity for both camaraderie and teaching.
It made me a better person. It has enlarged my acquaintances with other people. I've got training in there and leadership that I wouldn't have been able to get other places because it's so much more intense and larger than our symbolic Blue Lodges.
Scottish Rite social activities range from dinner dances to seminars, from concerts to picnics, from sports outings to ladies' nights. The Rite puts great stock in families and their participation in the life of the fraternity.
The activities that we have here in the Scottish Rite Cathedral are really geared toward the entire family. Family values, getting the whole family involved, and we try and have something for all members of the family.
A brother's duty to his family has always been one of the Rite's most cherished values. In celebration and support of the family, the Rite created its Family Life program. The Supreme Council promotes and coordinates the program, while the Valleys conduct their own local programs and special events. The thrust behind their activities is to strengthen families and provide opportunities for them to enjoy great times together. Around Thanksgiving, the program culminates in the annual Family Life Week. And at the end of the year, the Supreme Council awards special recognition to the best local programs and activities throughout the jurisdiction. Of course, almost any Rite activity, official or unofficial, offers a chance to make new friends and get to know old friends better. Every gathering, whether at the Valley, state, or jurisdictional level, expands a member's horizons.
You get to share time with other Masons from, indeed, not just the city or another county, but all across the country and actually around the world.
The Masons, as Don would tell you, is a very tight-knit network of people who really care about each other. They are constantly networking. Their commitment to each other is surpassed by nothing.
The caring expressed by 32nd degree Masons goes well beyond the brotherhood and their families. It extends throughout the northern jurisdiction, indeed throughout the country and the world. It is embodied in the Scottish Rite's many philanthropies. Since 1934, the Rite's schizophrenia research program has funded investigation into the causes of a disease that afflicts more than 1 million Americans. Since the Rite has been involved, great advances have been made in the treatment of the acute form of schizophrenia. Today, the Scottish Rite program awards dissertation research fellowships to promising graduate students at selected universities throughout the jurisdiction. Through their Abot scholarships, 32nd degree Masons have supported a college education for the children and grandchildren of Rite members. At a time when the cost of higher education has risen precipitously, the Rite has helped thousands of families create opportunity for their children, and in turn, create a well-educated workforce for our country. In 1975, the Rite officially presented another of its gifts to the American people and the world. On the eve of our country's 200th birthday, the Museum of Our National Heritage opened to the public. Located in historic Lexington, Massachusetts, the museum is a lively, interactive museum of American history and culture, as well as an unrivaled library of Masonic documents and collection of Scottish Rite artifacts. The museum's versatile spaces, state-of-the-art technology, and beautiful grounds allow it to complement its exhibitions with music, performances, readings, films, and outdoor events. The Museum of Our National Heritage does far more than educate its visitors. It inspires them with a brotherhood spirit and our country's ideals. The most recent of the Brotherhood's philanthropies are the Scottish Rite Learning Centers, places where children with dyslexia are finding hope, self-confidence, and success.
The first summer we were here, a gentleman came to my office after the summer program was over, took his ball cap off and said to me, Dr. Nappo, I want you to know, and he was hugging on his son at the time, that you have saved my son's life. My son can read.
We are making a tremendous difference, and we owe a tremendous debt to the Scottish Rite Freemasons for not only lending us the benefit of the dollars, but also lending us the benefit of the prestige which they enjoy, which of course adds to our credibility. And the most wonderful thing that's happening is that we see an impact on public schools. Teachers are saying, hey, I want to learn about that.
It is a miracle. You know, you've taken a child who always had trouble and you've made him stand tall and proud and real confident in his abilities. And to me it said, Mom, now I feel like a normal kid. That says a lot. You know, he is a normal kid. Thank you so much for Timmy and for all the kids. They're happy, they're successful, where they haven't been before.
Being a 32nd degree Mason means, of course, different things to different men. But whenever they speak of belonging to the Scottish Rite, they all express one universal emotion: pride. Pride in belonging to an organization with such a rich heritage, inspiring principles, emphasis on family and fellowship, and a long record of helping to better all of our lives.
What I would want anybody to know about me is that Ross Geiger is proud to be a Mason. He's certainly proud to be a Scottish Rite Mason. And he's proud of that because he feels that he can take those lessons and apply those in his daily life. And it's not a bunch of dramatic plays. It's got a real life purpose and a practicality, something that the modern man today can apply in his daily life and use that not for just the betterment of himself, but for the betterment of his family and his neighbor, his fellow man.
It's a constant opportunity to be with my brothers. It's a constant sharing of love and warmth and friendship. We do things together. It's a family.
It's a tie that you can't imagine. We're all bound together.
You now have an opportunity to strengthen the tie that binds all of us together, that makes us better men, and puts our Masonic principles into action. We invite you to take an active part in the fraternal life of your local Scottish Rite Valley. And please, share the pride of your membership with your family, friends, and with the brothers in your symbolic lodge who could also benefit from becoming a 32nd degree Mason.
Hi, welcome back. Well, you've seen the tape. I hope it left a good impression with you as it did with me. It's quite an organization, isn't it?
It certainly is, and it's proud for both of us to be part of that organization for such good things that they are doing for mankind throughout the country and the world, really.
Yeah. It explains something about the degrees in there from the 4th through the 32nd.
That's correct.
Now, like I said earlier in the show, you recently went to Cincinnati to get the 33rd degree.
Yes, I did. Very privileged to be there, but very enjoyable, yes.
But the 33rd is something that is conferred upon you by the organization for exemplary work, I would say.
Well, most members that receive it have done exemplary work within the Scottish Rite. Periodically, individuals will get it for service to country. In fact, the class that I just had the privilege to be part of, two of the recipients, I think names are very recognizable. John Glenn and Arnold Palmer were also in the class with me. They weren't there that day because they had other obligations that particular day.
Excellent.
But it was a very enjoyable day, and just be very proud for myself to have been part of that class.
Yeah, I had heard Arnold Palmer was a Mason.
Yes.
But I didn't know that he got in the 33rd.
In fact, as I was just saying, John Glenn, I was told on his trip into space, had a 33rd degree ring with him that will be donated to our museum up in Lexington.
Really?
For those to see, yes.
Oh, great. Now, recently there was a one-day class down in Sandwich.
That's correct, yes.
You do all the degrees in the one day, right?
Not necessarily, Franny. We've gone to the one-day class only because it allows most members to be able to take it in one day. We still go back to the traditional 4 Friday nights, but with traffic the way it is and schedules the way they are, it allows more to join on a one-day class. It makes a long day, but we try to have the candidates out by 5 or 5:30. In fact, we had a class last October 1st of last year. We went into conjunction with the Shrine. We did a unity class, and we had 844 candidates, I believe, one of the largest in recent memory. And it was done, as you just mentioned, in a one-day class. It started early in the morning at 8:30, and we were on our way home at 5:30 at night.
That is a long day, but they did the whole 32 degrees while...
Well, each body does one of their degrees. The Perfection does one of their, also Prince's, Rose-Croix, and Consistory, and we did what we call our 32nd degree, which is our last degree. And it's all done. But we have scheduled another one-day class in Natick in the month of February, and we will come back to our traditional 4 Friday nights in April with another one-day class next November 6th to be exact, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be called our Norm Crosby class. He is coming in as a recipient, the comedian Norm Crosby, and he'll be the recipient that particular day for the candidates to meet, and it'll be called the Norm Crosby class.
Great, great. Bob, we saw in the video of the Scottish Rite that Scottish Rite is very family-oriented. What does the Valley of Boston do for family orientation?
Randy, throughout the year, we have a family-like program comprised of members from the Valley of Boston, and on a regular basis, we have family programs, some of which are directed toward children, as we've just had a Barnum and Bailey Circus program, the aquarium we've done within the recent year. We have programs throughout the summer, the North Shore Music Circus, that we can not only take children, but it's a good opportunity for us to take our wives to a social event. We've had in the past Museum of Science in Boston that has been a highlight for the children. We give an extremely reduced rate so all can attend, and it gives all our members a chance to participate in some of these functions with their families and their wives to enjoy some of the things that we do have for them. And we're doing around 6 events a year on the average right now, which is, it gives us an ample opportunity to visit with our members and have our members enjoy some of these social events.
Now, if someone wanted to be a Scottish Rite Mason, how would he go about it?
Well, first of all, he'd need to be sponsored by a Scottish Rite member. We would need an application, and that application would be balloted on in Boston, and we would take them into, as you mentioned, either the one-day class and or the 4 Fridays. But very easy, very enjoyable. A member, once he does join, would be a participant. There is no memorization of any type. They would enjoy the degrees as you've seen portrayed in the video. They would have a nice lunch or a dinner depending on the time of the day. And we normally, most of the time, have nice professional entertainment for a break throughout the day that they can sit back and relax. But it's a very enjoyable day and a very rewarding day, as we've discussed.
Well, it sounds good to me.
Well,
Bob, I'd like to thank you for being on our program tonight.
My pleasure to be here.
It's been nice having you.
Thanks, Fred.
And learning about Scottish Rite.
Thank you very much.
The charities,
Well, we mentioned